How do I scale a building and make sure it's about the right size in Engage? So stay tuned and all will be revealed. Well, good morning everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly and indeed to the Torvale Mill build, if you like. Now, I did say that this area here would be next, and sometimes things happen, unfortunately, I've not managed to get it done in the last 2 weeks, but I have made some progress on this area here. So I'll go ahead and show you what I've done, and then we'll hopefully, by the end of the video, hopefully get this part sorted. And if things go really, really well, we'll start on this area here, but I might be pushing it a bit. Now, so this area here is quite an interesting area because there's lots going on. We've got the ruins coming down here. There was the old building sort of in this direction coming from there. And if you remember, I said a while ago, I can't remember the year now, but there was quite a big fire. And this building that was here was originally destroyed. And so there are signs of ruins left in this general area all around this particular section here. So what have I done? Well, obviously I've moulded that. This needs painting in. It's not blended in at all at the moment. And that was just a piece of 2mm grey board with the windows cut out. I did that manually with a scalpel, to be honest. It didn't seem to be worth setting up the machine to cut that. And then you've got this area inside, which I'll show you in a minute. So let's come off the tripod and I'll show you the ins and outs, if you like. Right, so we've got this area here now, and you can see we've got the steps going up. Now, these steps do come way, way back here, but I've obviously got to finish the model at some point, otherwise I have no place to stand. And then we've got this like cubbyhole type shed, and clutter inside there, and there is like an entrance into a room there with a ramp. Now there is a bit more space behind here, but I'm digging in far too much, to be honest with you, into the undergrowth, if you like, of the main part, and it does make life quite difficult. So again, it's a representation. It's vaguely like what it is, okay? And you just got this open area where the walls are sort of in quite a decay, to be honest, in the sense you've got quite a lot of salting going on, and there's some algae growing on the walls and things like that. But obviously you've got this railing and a slope running up there. Now coming around this side, it isn't finished yet, but we've got this building, again, needs painting. There are window frames in there, to be honest, but I'm of the impression I might just leave those out. We'll see how it goes. This here is a blocked up doorway, as far as I can tell, and there are some steps around this area here. I've obviously yet to make those, so I'll 3D print those. And there is, it almost appears to be a bit of a tunnel entrance just there. Been an exit for people with trolleys or something like that, bringing stuff out from down below. I honestly don't know. I mean, so if you know the ins and outs of why that would be there, then it would be very interesting to hear your story. So please do post it. But yeah, that's as much as I've got done so far. So my next stage now is to get these painted up. They have been varnished, and I'll get that blended in, and there's a whole assortment of walls. All right, welcome back. But now we've got these 3D printed steps in. There are 3 walls running down here and some bricks just on the ground there, and there's like a stack of bricks just there. Bearing in mind that an Engage brick is probably going to be about just over 1 millimetre long, probably about 1.5 mil by about 0.8 of a millimetre deep, if that, you know, so we're not talking big here. And then this area here, we've got this wall, and I don't know whether you can make it out, but there is quite a steep slope going down to the doorway just there. And then we've got this like planter thing just there. Then we got, and that's full of shingle, so like slate type thing. And I don't know whether you can make them out, but here, against the wall, there's a load of slabs. I don't know whether I can brush off a little bit more of the scatter, but there's definitely a load of slabs just there. So hopefully that makes them a little bit more clear. They are there, I promise. And it's quite grimy in the corner. And we've got this strange block of concrete, it looks like there, and what could be an open manhole just there. Okay, this area is gravelled, so it's quite a yellowy gravel, and using my usual technique of slightly different colours going on in there. So there's a bit of sand, and then some sort of yellowy scatter from Woodland Scenic's gone on the top of that. But the whole area is quite mossy, as you can see. So there's moss sort of over quite a large proportion of it. And then obviously we've got this sort of paved area over there. But it's getting there. I mean, it's not exact by any means. And I've taken an interpretation of what I see and made it fit the model. You can probably imagine that I've had to sort of do a big slice down through there. This area comes right down here, and so it joins up with this wall as we're going across there. You've got a path, so you can walk down from this area down here, and that passes the courtyard here, and obviously you've got the buildings there, so it divides it into two sections. And then this path coming along here joins up with a path going through the woodland area at the back there. So you can actually come down here, up there, and then up those steps. And the chimney is about here. So that's, I'm not going to do that yet. That's going to be amongst the last things that go on, because I don't want to knock it off. That's the point. But I'm going to call that area pretty much done. Just to give you a pan round to the previous shot, which is like the open area or entertainment area, if you like, with those steps. And finally is this area here. So I'm hoping I might be able to get some work done on that tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. I've got all week, half term this week. So by next week, I'm hoping that this will be complete. We'll see how it goes. No promises, obviously. But yeah, so I'll catch you very shortly. Welcome back. So you can now see I'm starting to think about this area just here. And you can also see I've got an image from Google Maps. Now, the one thing that does strike me more than anything else is the angle of this road and the angle of that last building. We're nowhere close. So what I might still do is bring this road across so it comes out more quite like that. Whether I'll end up with exactly the same angles is quite irrelevant at this moment in time. Remember, this is a representation of the real thing, not a scale model. So I still might move that over a little bit, and that's no big deal. But how do I go about placing these buildings and getting the sizes right? Now, I'm looking at these buildings in relation to the other buildings. Now, I'm going to work on these two first of all, but it's easy to tell you about this one. This long building coming down here obviously starts just after the parasols and the picnic benches. So from there, that will come across and it lines up with the middle of this building here. So the middle there, from the middle of that pretty much will be up to about there. I don't know whether you can see that mark or not. So that gives me that much space for that building. Now, these two, I can treat it as one, but if I look at that edge there, that corner, it's not quite in line with the edge of this big building, that corner there. It's not. So when I put my pencil across from that point, that would be the point where that building comes in, and then I'm looking probably around about 5 to 10 mil shorter. So my building will start about there. which then says to me, okay, I've got all this space from the end of that rule there right through to that point there. So this building has got to be around about 50 mil long, which then leaves around about 40 mil for that building just there. Now they do look, this one does look marginally shorter than that one. So 50 mil and then 40 mil, or give or take, would be about right. Now, if I now bring this up to the same height or the same length, like that, so that I'm looking at the roof there is 50 mil from there through to there. Now I put the rule across that way, I'm looking 30 mil wide, and the same again from there, pretty much from there to there, and that would be 45, well 40, and it does appear there's a bit of a gap there, but there isn't. So I'm not sure quite what's going on there with the image, but there is no gap between these two buildings. They do join directly to each other. So 50 mil and 40 mil, 45 mil would be absolutely perfect in there. All right. Now you're thinking, well, that does look a bit small even for N-gauge. Well, this is why that house is here. So if I measure that across there, you're looking just over 70, 72, 74 millimeters, give or take, 75. So half of that, you're going to be looking somewhere in the region about 36, 37. So that, you know, takes you to pretty much half of that house just there. And if I measure the width, you're looking 40. So obviously this is slightly deeper than these two. So I think that would be about right. Now the height of it, I don't know how high these are. Yes, I do know you can see software which measures the distance if you put the appropriate dots in. But I'm making this model fit this area, and so that's why I've scaled it to that size. But the one thing that you do need to be aware of is the height. Now, I don't know the height of these, and it's very difficult from just photographs to work it out. However, a doorway, I do know. 15 millimeters is a doorway. So I'm taking that from the bottom of the house, because that would effectively be like a doorstep, and there. An N-gauge person is around about 12 millimeters. So bearing that in mind, you can then judge from a photograph, well, if the doorway's that high, then you can see, I'll show you what I mean. All right, there we go then. I'm trying to hold this image still because it does rotate. Now the door, I can't get in front of the door, but there's that green bit, there's a gate, and the door is literally behind there. So if I look at that, that's about 15 millimeters. I can't bring it in. I don't think I can bring it in closer. Oops. But when I look at this distance from here to here, and I look at this distance from here to there, that is approximately halfway. So implying that the building height here is around about 30 mil high, 35 mil. I'm going to give it an extra 5 mil. And then plus whatever's distance this ramp is just here. So 35 mil plus that will be 7. So I'm going to be doing this 42 millimeters high for that building there, and this will be a little bit higher than that. Welcome back. So there's the scene as if you're looking down the street, if you like, for want of a better phrase. And this building here on the right is most definitely underway. There you go. So you can see I've already started cutting that section out, ready to move this over a bit more. But this is literally just a 2 mil grey board structure. And I look where the windows are on the images, and then it is a guess of how big they are, how wide, where they are, all that sort of stuff. But to be honest with you, when you're doing a representation, I don't think it matters. I've always gone for the flavour of the area, if you like, the overall atmosphere, and to try and replicate that as opposed to the actual building itself, although I want to try and get it as close as I can. Things don't always tie up as well as you would like them to, so you make the best of what you've got. So that's why I've gone for a representation. But you can see this is made from 2mm grey board. I've put a straight across there. You'll even notice, I will tell you, there is like a second layer, and the reason for that is because I cut the top bit too short, so I put another bit underneath which takes it to the right length. It happens to all of us, but when I put that on there, you can see now, as I said to you a few minutes ago, that scene is starting to develop quite a bit more now. And as I've got this bit done, as I showed you at the beginning of the video, that's looking an awful lot better now. You know, I'm really pleased with the way this is developing. Now, I've got a week off now from school. It's holidays, half-term holidays, so I'm really hoping to get all of this done and completed to the same level. So this hopefully should be finished by next week, but there is no guarantees. It really does depend on how it goes. It may come back next week and I've just got that building mocked up in the same way as this one is, but we'll see. And on the other hand, it might actually be done. Who knows? Anyway, I'll catch you very, very soon here on Piccadilly. Take care of yourself and bye for now.